You meet someone and something feels strange. Not bad. Strange. They like the same music as you, the same films, the same food. They even finish your sentences. You mention a hobby you love. They say they love it too. You talk about a childhood memory. They had almost the same experience. Within days, it feels like you have met your perfect match. Someone who understands you completely. But weeks later, something begins to shift. The person who loved everything you loved starts changing. Their personality seems to move. Sometimes they agree with you. Sometimes they suddenly contradict you, and you start wondering something uncomfortable. Were they ever really like you at all? Or were they reflecting you? This behavior appears in many relationships, and once you see it, it becomes impossible to ignore, because some people do not show you who they are. They show you who you are. This psychological tactic is called mirroring, and it is one of the most powerful tools used by narcissistic personalities. At first glance, mirroring feels natural. Humans copy each other all the time. Friends adopt similar phrases. Couples begin using the same expressions. People match body language during conversation. This happens automatically. It helps build trust. When someone seems similar to us, we feel comfortable. The brain interprets similarity as safety. But narcissistic mirroring works differently. It is not unconscious, it is strategic. To understand how it works, imagine a simple situation. You meet someone new. You tell them you love traveling. They light up. Me too. I'm obsessed with travel. You mention a favorite film. They say it is one of their favorites as well. You talk about values. They say they believe exactly the same things. The similarities feel almost magical. You begin thinking something powerful. We are so alike. But something else is happening beneath the surface. They are studying you. Every detail you reveal becomes information. Your passions, your insecurities, your dreams, your fears, they absorb it all, and then they reflect it back to you. This creates an illusion, the illusion of perfect compatibility. But the real purpose sits deeper. Trust. When someone feels similar to us, the brain lowers its guard. We share more. We open up faster. We believe we are understood. This makes mirroring extremely powerful at the start of relationships, especially romantic ones, because humans search for connection. We want someone who understands us, someone who feels familiar. Mirroring creates that feeling instantly. The narcissist becomes your reflection. But here is where the psychology becomes interesting. People do not fall in love with the narcissist. They fall in love with themselves, because what they see is their own personality being reflected back, their values, their humor, their interests, their worldview. The narcissist becomes a mirror showing the person exactly what they want to see. And that reflection feels irresistible. But there is another reason mirroring works so well. Validation. When someone agrees with everything you say, it feels good. Your ideas seem smarter. Your preferences seem more interesting. Your experiences seem more important. The person validates your identity. And validation creates emotional attachment. The brain links that good feeling to the person providing it. This is why the connection often feels intense. You feel seen, understood, accepted. But this stage rarely lasts, because the mirrored personality is not real. Eventually, the reflection begins to crack. Maybe they suddenly dislike something they once loved. Maybe they forget details they claimed were important. Maybe their opinions change completely. At first, you ignore it. Everyone changes sometimes, but over time, the pattern becomes clearer. The person you met at the beginning slowly disappears, and the confusion begins. You start asking questions. Why have they changed? What happened to the person I met? But the truth is uncomfortable. That person never existed. It was a reflection. Mirroring also creates another powerful effect: speed. Most relationships develop gradually. People reveal themselves slowly. Trust builds through shared experience. But mirroring accelerates intimacy, because when someone seems identical to you, the connection feels deeper immediately. You feel like you skipped the early stages. You feel like you already know each other. This emotional shortcut creates fast attachment. And once attachment forms, influence becomes easier. This is why mirroring appears often in manipulative relationships. The narcissist gathers information about you, then uses it to construct a personality you will trust. But the strategy does not stop there. Mirroring also provides something extremely useful: control. Because the narcissist now understands what matters to you. They know what makes you feel valued. They know what makes you feel insecure. This information becomes leverage. If you value admiration, they provide admiration. If you value intellectual connection, they mirror intelligence. If you value emotional depth, they mirror vulnerability. They become exactly what you respond to. But once the relationship becomes stable, the dynamic often changes. The validation becomes inconsistent. Sometimes they support you, sometimes they criticize you. This unpredictability creates emotional tension, and emotional tension increases attachment. The brain begins chasing the earlier validation. You remember the person who understood you perfectly, and you try to reconnect with that version. But the version you are chasing was never real. It was built from your own reflection. Mirroring also appears outside romantic relationships. You see it in sales. A skilled salesperson studies the customer. They match tone of voice, body language, energy. If the customer speaks slowly, the salesperson slows down. If the customer becomes enthusiastic, the salesperson matches that enthusiasm. The customer feels understood. Trust grows quickly. But the difference sits in intention. In healthy communication, mirroring builds rapport. In manipulative relationships, mirroring builds influence. Another place this behavior appears is inside certain social groups. New members receive huge agreement. Everyone shares the same beliefs, the same values, the same goals. The person feels like they have found people exactly like them. But sometimes those similarities exist because the group encourages conformity. Members mirror each other to maintain belonging. This creates strong group identity, and strong group identity creates loyalty. But in narcissistic relationships, the mirroring focuses on one target: you. Your personality becomes the blueprint. Your identity becomes the template. And the narcissist becomes the reflection. Which leads to the most important question: why does this work so well? The answer sits inside human psychology. Humans trust similarity. We feel safer around people who seem like us. Shared interests signal compatibility. Shared beliefs signal understanding. Shared experiences signal belonging. The brain interprets similarity as proof. Proof that someone understands us. Proof that someone belongs in our world. Mirroring creates that proof instantly. But the danger appears when similarity is manufactured, because the connection feels real, even though it was constructed. Over time, this creates emotional confusion. You remember the person who seemed identical to you. You compare them to the person they became, and you try to make sense of the difference. But the difference reveals the truth. The person you trusted was built from information you provided. Your identity shaped the illusion. And this leads to the most powerful insight in understanding this behavior. Mirroring works because it reflects your own personality back at you. You see your humor, your passions, your worldview, and that reflection feels perfect. But real relationships are not perfect reflections. Real people disagree. They bring different experiences, different perspectives, different opinions. Real connection includes differences, because two real people rarely match completely. So when someone seems identical to you in every way, something important may be happening. They may not be showing you who they are. They may be showing you who you are. And once you understand that, you begin to see something clearly. Sometimes the person who seems perfect for you is not revealing themselves at all. They are simply holding up a mirror.